Hello and welcome back to my channel. Now today I'm doing another EFL talks. I didn't think I'd have to do another one of these, but Charlton versus Pods was called off last time. This time it's Crewe away, the two C's away I suppose, both of them called off. This time due to a frozen pitch. I'm going to go through the Championship, League 1 and League 2 action from today. Although there were a lot of games called off, still many took place. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to like this video. Can we get 10 likes on this one? But without further ado, we will jump straight into the Championship. Now the Championship is seen as quite a good division, quite a good league in Europe. Personally, I think it's better entertainment than the Premier League half the time. No VAR, still passion from the fans. The early kickoff, Nottingham Forest drew 0-0 with Bournemouth. Luton beat Birmingham at St Andrews. Cardiff beat Coventry at home. Middlesbrough travelled to Derby and lost 2-1. Wickham came from 2-0 down to beat Huddersfield 3-2. Norwich hammered Stoke at home 4-1. Millwall beat Reading 2-1 away. Rotherham v QPR was called off along with Sheffield Wednesday versus Swansea. And then Watford battered Bristol City 6-0. Hit them for 6. That doesn't happen often, and I think everyone can back me up in saying that. 6-0, 6-1. It doesn't happen a lot. The two big games, I suppose you could say. Watford beating Bristol City 6-0 fires them firmly into a promotion hunt. I wouldn't write them off. Wickham managing to get a win against Huddersfield as well, especially from behind. Gives them all the confidence they need to go on that push to stay up. They needed that win. They went 2-0 down, they're probably thinking, oh no, but they've done it. They got back, they got the 3 points, and they're now closing the gap on the promotion. On the relegation teams. They don't want to be going down. As much as I think it is too little too late, you never know. There's still plenty of games to play. We'll now look at what that leaves with the table. In the top half, we have Norwich, who still lead the way on 58 points. Then Brentford occupies second position in the league with 57, with a game in hand over Norwich. Swansea then sitting in third, obviously their game called off today. They have a game in hand of Brentford, 2 on Norwich, and they're only 4 points behind that second position. They could take top if they wanted to. Watford now sitting fourth after winning 6-0 today. Reading hold on to 5th position in the league. They drop because they lost to Millwall. It's another one they should be winning, but they didn't. Bournemouth, they are in 6th position in the league. Cardiff, they're up to 7th. They're now only... Well, it's mental this, because there's a 6-point gap between Cardiff in 7th and the playoffs with Bournemouth in 6th. However, Bournemouth is slipping slightly, I'd say. They did manage to get a point today, but it was the 16th place Nottingham Forest. But we'll look at the bottom end of the table now. Wickham occupy bottom of the league on 19 points. Then there's a big gap of 9 points to Birmingham in 23rd. Then Sheffield Wednesday in 22nd on 28 points as well. Then 21st you have Rotherham on 29. Then 20th you have Coventry on 31. 19th Derby on 31, who have lifted themselves out a little bit. And then we'll just finish with 18th Huddersfield, who have 33 points. Some teams there that shouldn't really be down there. Nottingham Forest are down low as well. They might not have been on that. Derby are too low for where they should be. Sheffield Wednesday are way too low. Birmingham as well. The only expected one is Wickham. But now we'll move on to Pompey's division. I think only 4 or 5 games actually did take place today. So we're going to go through the results today first. Wimbledon versus Rochdale was called off. Blackpool versus Peterborough was called off. Bristol Rovers versus Swindon was called off. Obviously Bristol Rovers we do have to travel to on Tuesday. Here's hoping that one's not called off as well. Now the first game of the day was Charlton, who took on Gillingham. Gillingham beat them 3-2 away. That helps Pompey out in terms of teams behind them. Then obviously Crewe versus Pompey was called off. Then another big result for Pompey. MK Dons beat Hull away. Big result for MK Dons in their hopes of chasing down... Well, I wouldn't write them off from chasing down something. Let's just say that. They're not too far behind now. Burton, they beat Northampton. A big win in them for their bid to try and stay up. Fleetwood, they lost away to Plymouth, 1-0. A high-flying Plymouth side, can they reach the playoffs? Shrewsbury versus Ipswich was called off, and then Sunderland hammered Doncaster 4-1. Sorry. Charlie Wyke hammered Doncaster 4-1. Now, he's a striker that, if we go up, and they don't, I would splash 6 million on him. I will say that now. I don't care what anyone says, whether they say he's not for sale. I know the Sunderland fans won't want to let him go. If we're in the Championship next season, he is what we need. Charlie Wyke is what we need. He's a big target man. He knows what he's doing. All 4 of his goals today came from headers. He's got all 4 of Sunderland's goals. McGeady with all 4 assists. It's mental. He's such a talented striker that Pompey would need if we go up. Whether his partner and Marcus are up top by himself, if we're going to play 4-2-3-1, he's the one that suits it. That's all I'm going to say though. We'll look at the table now. Lincoln still lead the way, having not played today on 52. Hull, with their loss, they still occupy second, as Doncaster couldn't capitalise and Peterborough didn't play along with us. Then Peterborough third, Peterborough on 49 points, joint with Hull with 2 games in hand. Pompey also 2 games in hand. Pompey also 2 games in hand, 1 point behind Hull. Once again, we can catch them. Doncaster have a game in hand on Portsmouth. They are 1 point. They're joint on points of us, 48 in 5th. Sunderland occupies 6th. They've played more than anyone in those the playoff picture at the moment. They've played 27. They were on 44 points. A 4-point gap between them and Doncaster. Charlton have then played 1 more than Sunderland. They're on 43. And then you have Accrington, who are on 41, having played less than everyone. 2 less than Pompey now. I think they still can't catch us, which is how we want it to be. We'll look at the bottom end of the table now, though. I don't think many teams played at the bottom. However, Burton have lifted their spirits massively, with their games in hand still to play as well, on the likes of Northampton, on the likes of Rochdale, who are a bit above there. I think they even have 2 on Swindon as well. Now we have Burton on bottom of the league, 22 points. Northampton in 23rd with 24 points. Swindon with 24 as well in 22nd. 21st is Wigan with 24. 24 as well in 20th, Bristol Rovers. And then we go to 25 points in 19th with Wimbledon. 18th we have Rochdale, who have played 27, more than anyone down there, I believe, apart from Swindon. Rochdale, they have 26 points, I believe. Yes. Once again, it's very, very tight at the bottom. Burton, I was saying, they're not going to start. There's no chance. They're only 4 points off with games in hand. It's doable. That's what I love about this league. It's definitely doable. But some results did go Pompey's way. We'll talk about Sunderland hammering Doncaster. Doncaster, I think they're going up. I can't see it myself. They've still got that game in hand, obviously, but the way they're playing recently, they lost 3-1 to Fleetwood last weekend. They're losing 4-1 to Sunderland today. But maybe it'll be 5-1 next weekend. You never know. We'll move on now, though, to League 2, as there wasn't many games in League 1. I don't think you'll be surprised by this. There was even less in League 2. Now, the first game of the day, and I think there were 2 games of the day. Bolton, they beat Stevenage 1-0. I think that's a very big win for Bolton, considering Stevenage, bottom end of the table. Bolton don't want to be dragged into that picture. They've got themselves out of it. Bradford versus Salford was called off. Top of the league, Cambridge continued their bad run of form by drawing at home to Southend, who lift themselves off bottom of the league. Then Carlisle v Crawley was called off. Forest Green versus Barrow was called off. Grimsby Tranmere was called off. Harrogate v Leyton Orient was called off. Morecambe v Scunthorpe was called off, and Port Vale v Newport was called off. There may have been a couple more, but those are the ones that were called off on today. Go for the table quickly, not much to talk about. Top of the league, Cambridge, they've obviously dropped more points. That means they've played 3 more than the team in second and third, Forest Green and Cheltenham. They're only 4 points ahead of them. Cambridge could, if they're not careful, Cambridge could drop even out of the playoffs. But Forest Green, they do have that game in hand against Barrow, a team that's not really doing anything this season. I think they're near the bottom, but they're not relegation. Cheltenham, their game in hand will now, one of their games in hand, I don't know, that doesn't say on here. Sorry if you know who it is, Cheltenham fans. Doesn't say on here. They probably had their game called off yesterday. Carlisle, though, I want to talk about them. They sit in 8th. Which you're thinking, why are you talking about the team in 8th? Why are you talking about the team outside the playoffs? I'm talking about them simply because of the fact they have 3 games in hand on at least on the teams of the playoffs. They have 4 on 4 on Tranmere, 4 on Morecambe, and they have 6 on top of the league, Cambridge. Now that's ridiculous considering they're still 7th and they're still only 7 points behind with 6 games in hand. I think Carlisle would be top of the league if it came down to PPG, which it won't now, in my opinion. But that's nuts. They win those games in hand, they're top of the league. I'm not going to say what I think will go on. We're going to do our predictions at some point for all the leagues, I reckon. But I think that's where this video is going to end. We'll quickly talk about the bottom of League 2, though. The team at the bottom now is Grimsby on 21 points. Barrow on 23 points in 23rd. Southend in 22nd on 24 points. Stevenage in 21st on 29 points. Sorry, I read that as 25. Bradford in 20th on 31 points. Colchester in 19th on 32. And Scunthorpe also on 32 in 18th. Same as Port Vale on 32 as well. Southend, they want to be lifted out of it. I said Barrow weren't doing much. They're in the relegation zone. I didn't even realise. I think today Southend didn't really leapfrog anyone because their goal difference is minus 26. Same as Grimsby's. That's nuts. It shouldn't be that bad. So they're clearly leaking a lot of goals. That's where this video is going to end though. I hope Rico can do well. Rico Hackett-Fairchild can do well for Southend. I will though, now end this video here. That's all I have to say about the games. Not much went on today. A lot of games called off for frozen pitches. EFL Talk should be back on Wednesday, possibly Thursday. I will hopefully be able to do a podcast soon as well, some predictions, some end of league predictions as well, table. So let me know in the comments what you do want to see, because I take all of your criticism, all of your comments on board. I take everything to heart. Well, not to heart necessarily, but I listen to them all. I read them all. I reply to most of them. So let me know. Please don't forget to subscribe. I'd love to get 7 more subscribers to finish the week. But that is where this video ends, and I'll see you in the next one.